Hey guys, it's Vandy as of Namorkahr Vanguard deck profiles. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's start already. This time we're covering DZ set 7 for Dragon Empire, which is Bavsarga. So Bavsarga finally got a new form, which all of us have been waiting for since pretty much at the tail end of D, if I even want to say like the first season of Will Dress. And honestly, she got an amazing upgrade, not just to herself, but her arm cards as well, and her support cards are really great too. So let's get this started, shall we, and see what we have. First of today, we have our energy generator. It's our ride deck crest. You know, my ride deck crest and your ride deck, auto ride deck. When you would ride, put this card into your crest zone. If you win second, you get to energy charge 3 and continues to have it to energy and auto begin your ride phase, energy charge 3, followed by act once per turn, energy boss 7, draw a card. All are pretty solid because a good amount of Bav supports do use up the energy, but on the bright side, all of those cards that use up energy involve going to your hand, which means no matter what you use your energy on, whether you're using it on their skills or using it on the energy generator skill, you're going to end up increasing your hand one way or another. And the best part is Bav has a way to energy charge you once every single turn, meaning technically speaking, you get a free 4 energy every turn. So energy generator is a nice card to have, and also this deck plays really well with the energy as a resource. Moving on to our starter, we have Sealed Blaze Dragon Arisha Seva. Grade 0 boost 5k, show 6k base, auto replining for second, draw a card, standard starter, nothing special, free draw if you go second. The deck actually does require this as the starter because the grade 1 of the ride line does require Arisha Seva. But the best part I love about this is Bav is now one of the few ride lines in all of Vanguard that has actually gotten a full upgrade, because typically they only upgrade the boss. Like for example, they only upgraded Bruce into Vehemence Bruce, or Bastion into what was it called, Bastion Accord. Only Nirvana got the full ride line upgrade into Nirvana Jiva. Same with Barrow Magnus and Eugene, and of course it's got to go to Bav as well. So I think it's really cool that she's one of the few decks that can say that she had upgraded the entire ride line and not just herself. Zorga technically counts too, I guess, because of, you know, it is a full ride line upgrade. Anyways, moving on to our triggers, we have Over Trigger in Dragon Deity King of Resurgence Drag Veda. Grades of boost 50k shield, 5k base, Over Trigger. You have Over Trigger in your deck, and reveal it as a trigger, move that card to draw a card, choose one mutes, it gets plus +1 for the turn, and reveal it during jet track, activate its a dish effect, which you get to choose from Vanguard and stand it. Arm pretty solid because it gives someone a free mill and a draw once you check it, whether it's damage checked or draft checked. But if you did draft check it, your Vanguard gets an additional attack that turn, and that's really good coming from a Vanguard who has double critical, and unlike every other previous iteration of Bav, can now do triple drive twice. So Drag Veda is really good in this deck, because if you see it when you're attacking into a grade 3, you suddenly got 6 drive checks with both of them having double crits. Drag Veda, very good over. You can run Fallen out from one multi-attacking or the other ones for XYZ, but I'm gonna stick with Drag Veda because 6 drive checks. Fun. Moving on to our other normal triggers, we have 3 copies of Blaze Maiden Parama. Grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 4k base. Front trigger, choose Guard Circle. If your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 guard, choose 5000 shield. So you know, she's a 20k shield, that's great to have for defensive pressure, especially along with the shield, which adds an extra 10/20k on its own. But the front trigger being able to add numbers to the entire front row, again with a multi-attack deck, is great because Bath finally has multi-attack. I'm not so sure how to feel about that, because yeah, she needs it to keep up, but at the same time, she felt like the only deck that didn't need multi-attack to keep up, and they gave it to her anyway. So not really sure how to feel about this, but either way, being able to give 10k to the front row is nice. I like having Prama here as a 3 of. Then we have a total of 8 crit, 4 copies of Blaze Maiden Zone, grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 5k base. You can make this any crit you want. I choose to make it Zone because, while according to Mirai's deck at least, Conduct Spark Dragon is her official critical trigger, I liked throwing like the Blaze Maiden cards from Yu's deck into her deck, because I never saw them like together in a shipping way, but I saw them like mirrors of each other, and also the fact that they helped Ura together, whatever. So I liked having Blaze Maiden Zone here as the crit, followed by of course 4 copies of Burning Flow Dragon. Grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 4k base, critical trigger, auto rear guard. At the bottom of the boosted, shove it to soul, choose unique, give it 2k for the turn. And 2k will never matter, but being able to go to soul is helpful, especially in this deck, because unlike the other versions of Bav, you'll still consistently get your 2 soul you need for the Vanguard's retire skill, but there will come times where like you will have less soul than you would have before. So I like having Burning Flow just in case you do need those soul chargers. So again, 8 crit for pressure, followed by of course 4 heal and Blaze Maiden and Rona. You know, if you run Rona, you gotta run Zone and vice versa. So grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 5k base. You can make this any who you want. Again, I choose to make it Rona because I have Zone in here, so I might as well run them together. That of course brings us to our last grade 0 in the deck. 4 copies of the most important grade 0 in here, Trickmoon. Auto when placed on back or rear guard center from your drop zone, countercharge 1. So pretty much being able to countercharge just for free is great, especially because you're gonna immediately get that ability to arm the second you ride to grade 3, and then you get to superior call this to back row center if it entered the drop zone beforehand. So essentially you just get to arm the Vanguard for free free, which is nice. And then Dress Boost, Auto Rear Guard. When this unit boosts, the boosted unit gets 10,000 power till end of battle for each card with Sealed Blaze Maiden Bavsarga it's armed with. So essentially, if your Vanguard has 2 arms, the boosted unit will get plus 20k, so a total of 25k boost. All around Trickmoon is really good for numbers. The downside is his counter charge only locked at back row center. Upside is if you fill the back row with 3 of these, your opponent's going to go to hell for that. So 4 of Trickmoon, really good for number gauging and just really great for beatdown, especially because he doesn't require the opponent to be at a specific grade to do a skill. So 4 of. Then of course we have 2 copies of our first grade one of Dancing Princess of Elegant Flames Faren, who at best can be said she's here on the simple grounds. I wanted to test all the cards, and I mean I had just enough space in the deck to put her in at 2, so might as well. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, aka base, auto cut when this card is put into your soul by your card's ability during your turn. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 regarded Bavsarga, choose a unit, give 5,000 power for the turn. So cool, she gives someone 5k power. It can be the Vanguard, it can be your rear guards, it can be whoever, as long as she's sent to soul by something's ability. You can send it to soul via Bav's ability or another card's ability. I don't remember if there's any Bav cards that can inherently send her to soul, but I mean there is. And then auto rear guard, at the end of the battle that she boosted, if your Vanguard is armed with 2 or more cards, energy plus 2, return her to hand. You see, we're at the second Bav and we still have not found a way to have 3 arms, but every single support card keeps mentioning 2 or more arms. I'm just saying it's gonna happen someday, but being able to bounce yourself to hand is great because it allows you to have the extra 5k shield, and then allows you to have an extra soul target that you can send to soul later for next turn via Bav's ability to get more arms. All around, she's a nice grade 1 for early game rushing that you can call to board, not to mention the fact that again she can return herself to hand, making for more guard power or just soul fodder. If you want to end up turning her into someone more quote-unquote useful to spam out more arms consistently, such as I think her name is Blaze Maiden Cindy, the one that's like a support card for both Bav and Nirvana, by all means you can go ahead and do so. Again, I chose to make it Faren because I wanted to test out other cards, and honestly I do like Faren. I was also too lazy to go grab an English copy of Cindy. Moving on to 4 copies of Vairlord, who I remember like this day after that Bavsarga was released. For the record, I'm recording this Saturday, February 1st at 7:09 p.m. So yesterday, Friday, I saw a bunch of comments saying, oh, Vairlord's out of stock on TCG Player. I looked at TCG Player just to prove that wrong. They are wrong. It's not out of stock. It's just really expensive. He's like $35 a pop. So yeah, really good to cost for that. Anyways, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base, lovely moon in the background, and sadly a card I'll never own because it will bankrupt me if I do. Overdressed Trickmoon, so you may place on top of the specified units as normal calling it. Continuous rear guard, it cannot be chosen by opponent's card effects. So your opponent can still kill it if they have like a board wipe skill, but if it like involves individually picking, they can't. And then auto when placed on rear guard circle by Overdress, Card Boss 1, choose up to a total of 2 arms cards from your hand or drop zone, put one of them into the soul and arm the other one to Vanguard circle. So cool, doesn't matter if you already have arms attached, you can just rearm something, proc off skills, and get an extra soul card at the same prime, which is great, so it allows you to be a little bit more aggressive with your deck. And finally, Dress Boost, Auto Rear Guard, when it's in the Overdress state boost, regardless of who it's boosting, your entire front row gets 5,000 power for each card armed to your Vanguard. So a total of plus 10 go into front row, which is great. So it is Trickmoon's power cut in half, but it goes to everyone and not just the unit in front of it, and it goes for the entire turn, meaning it benefits the 2 restanders in this deck, especially if you play a Vairlord behind both of them, or at least the first one. So honestly, pretty good grade 1 to use, gets you arms on both your Vanguard, increases your soul, not to mention the fact it's unretirable, or not unretirable, it's untargetable by abilities, but again, if like they mass target everything, then there you go. And again, it gives basically a persona right to your front row while also looking really cool. So 4 copies of Vairlord, really great grade 1, and good luck buying this if you want to play it. Then we have 4 copies of our PG and Twin Buckler Dragon, grade 1 boost, 0 souls, K base, continuous sentinel to 4 sentinels in deck, and also put on guard circle, choose 1 units, and cannot be hit in the battle. If your hand has 2 more cards in it, choose a card from hand and discard it. Standard PG, nothing to specify about it. Basically means if this only one of the cards in your hand placed on guard circle, you don't have to discard. It's great because that means to be as aggressive as you want early game. Basically, you don't really spam everything in your hand. I mean, you can call 2 grade 2s, but you don't want to risk them dying, especially if your opponent's going first. But when your opponent eventually gets to the late game and then they are pushing you and you have only one other card in your hand, throw down Twin Buckler Dragon, give them the middle finger, and you're good to go, so you don't have to discard. All a very solid PG to have. You could run, not Plasma Catapult Dragon, I always want to say that. You can run Sparkle Rejector Dragon or Monju for your PG because they have the exact same skill as Twin Buckler. I choose to make a Twin Buckler, however, because it came out close to the time of OG Bav's release, and most of the time when I upgrade decks, I tend to keep the old PG. There are times where I change it, like I don't remember, I changed it for Bruce, and I know I changed it for Nirvana. I don't think I changed it for Bastion though, so sometimes I change it, sometimes I don't. In this case, I just don't. So 4 copies of Twin Buckler Dragon. Then move on to our last grade 1 in the deck, one of in the red deck, none in the main deck, of Sealed Blaze Dragon Namorkahr Anui. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base. I love this background. I love how he's upgraded. So he has 2 skills, and One of them is very busted, so I'm gonna go over the not busted one first. Continuous rearguard. If your Vanguard is armed with 2 or more cards, he'll get 2k power. Again, a mention of 2 or more arms, but that's active on both players' turns. So for those who don't know what the original Namorkahr did, it was an auto rearguard on swing. It gets 2k, which is fine. It's a 10k swinger, but it's only for the battle that it attacks, and it has to specifically be the attacker. But Anui now just keeps the 10k regardless. And on top of that, he does it during both players' turns, which is great. On top of that, his ride deck skill is almost the exact same as before, except better. So auto in place by riding from the specified grade 0, just like the other one was also specified from the grade 0. Soul Boss 1, and now you have to reveal Sealed Blaze, Maiden of Arbitration, Bavsargra Aksayya from your ride deck. Nice try trying to use this one in a deck that doesn't have an actual ride line like Spider Marquee, just a deck then, and perform on the following and shuffle the deck. If you went second, you perform both of them instead of just one. You either search your deck for up to 1 Sealed Blaze Sword Dyaava, the new sword, and reveal it, put it to your hand, or you search your deck for up to the Shield Blaze Shield Bowdhanath, the new shield, reveal it and put it to your hand. Or again, if you want second, you add both. So cool, this essentially either gets you one of your 2 weapons like you would with the original grade 1, or just get you both of them. So all around, very solid. Get you your 2 most important cards in the deck, and also if you do manage to call this card to rearguard, because maybe you're just calling it out from Bav because you have no better call targets, you got a 10k base on your board. You know, one of them in the ride deck, none in the main deck because you don't really need it, and it just does its job well. It's just good. Moving on to our grade 2s, run 3 copies of Sealed Blaze, Dragon, Dvesta. Grade 2 is a 5k shield, 10k base. Okay, here's my thing. Technically speaking, with Bav support cards now, you don't really need to run any cards that mill, because again, if you go second, this auto grabs the 2 cards you need to actually start playing the game, and even if you go first, the grade 2 of the ride line literally grabs the other one, and it will grab the second copy of the first one if you so desired. So yeah, you technically don't need to run millers anymore, but I mean, you do it anyway just for consistency's sake. Anyways, Dvesta, grade 2 set 5k shield, 10k base, auto plus from rearguard circle, soul boss 1, check the top 7, choose up to 1 card with just boost ability, and up to 1's arms card, reveal them both, choose up to 1 of the revealed cards, add it to hand, discard the other, and shuffle the deck. So you can either send both to drop zone or add 1 to hand and send the other to drop zone, which is still good because the deck thins out for 2 cards. And then auto rearguard when it attacks a grade 3 guard unit, whether it's a Vanguard or a rearguard. If your Vanguard has 2 or more arms on it, it gets 10,000 power for the battle. Cool. Swings for a 20k swing regardless of what it's swinging into, as long as it's a grade 3 unit. Not to mention the fact that when it's placed, regardless of what grade you're at, you can just deck thin out 2 cards, which is good. The only downside is it does cost a soul, which eases it a little bit into Bav, who doesn't soul charge as easily now. But on the bright side, again, it does its job. So it's a 3 of. You technically don't need it because, again, you will always be able to have your arms, and you will always, most of the time, be able to have a Trickmoon or a Vairlord and drop some. But at this point, you really run it just to guarantee you have a Vairlord or Trickmoon and drop some. So take that as you will. And then we have 3 copies of Sealed Blaze, Dragon, Kankshati. So he's here on the simple grounds of I will never use his first skill ever again because, again, I say you deck thin guaranteed for your order, so you don't need this. But I like to have it for its second skill to help increase my soul, since unless I'm having both restanders on board, most time I'm going to have free CB, so I might as well use it to get draws, hand cards, and more numbers. So grade 2 set 5k shield, 10k base of Sealed Blaze, Dragon, Kankshati. Auto when placed on rear guards work from the hand. If your Vanguard's a Bavsarga, soul boss 1, ditch 1, search your deck or drop zone for up to 1 arms card, reveal it, put it to hand, search your deck, you shuffle it. Okay, you will never use that ability because A, eats into soul, and B, it gets rid of hand cards when you can always get a free arms every single turn. Not to mention the fact that you have other cards that can get you free arms. But hey, you know what? If you want to spam the sword out multiple times to get more numbers to front row, be my guest. But the main reason he's here is act rear guard once per turn, CB1 and shove an arms card from your Vanguard circle into soul, draw a card, and he'll get 5,000 power for the turn. Okay, he's a measly 15k, but A, he gets you a soul card, and then B, if you did end up using his on-place ability, you can just play a sword normally, give the front row 5k, send that sword to soul via his skill, he gets another 5k, so he's a 20k base now, you draw, and then you play a second sword, whether you just play a sword actual normally, or you just play it via Bavsargra's ability, and then that sword gives your front row another 5k, meaning he's sitting at a 25, your other rear guard is either also sitting at a 25 or it's sitting at a 20, and then your Vanguard sitting at a currently 23, assuming you don't have Persona as active, 23k base with triple drive, most likely incoming thanks to the sword. So 3 copies of Kankshati allows you to spam the sword a little bit more consistently, get your resource out of it, and then outside is he eats into the CB, and if you really want to use the search skill, he eats into the soul, but 3 of, because you don't really need to use the search skill, you're mainly using it just to get hand cards and soul. Then we have 4 copies of our really good grade 2, Sealed Blaze, Dragon, Yugmashad. I like how he's kind of more technological because like he's armored up, but like you can see like the blue like particles kind of flowing through his armor. I think it's just really cool. Anyways, auto placed on rear guard circle from the hand. If your Vanguard's a Sealed Blaze, I love how he just says Sealed Blaze. So there is a chance that if they ever decided to make like a promo grade 3 that just happened to have the Sealed Blaze name but wasn't Bavsargra, that this unit could support it. Energy Blast 3 and ditch an arms card, draw 2 cards, and the opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3, you're going to give it 5,000 power. So 15k base is grade great. And again, being able just to ditch an arms to draw 2, so at least your energy that you're using from the energy generator, if it's not going to the draw from that, it's at least going to the draw from this, is great. And then auto rearguard once per turn at the amount of your Vanguard with Bavsarga and his card name attacked into anything. If your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 regard to CB1 stand itself. So it is a once per turn, but if you have 2 of them on board, you can use up 2 CB to stand on them, allowing you to do a total of 5 attacks with Bav, with triple drive being for the Vanguard attack. And if you pull the over, that's a total of 4 attacks with Bav, and 2 of them have triple drive, meaning you get a total of 6 drive checks during that, which is great. And again, being a 15k the turn is place is good, and also getting you hand cards. And technically speaking, you can just call this at grade 2 because your Vanguard will have Sealed Blaze in the card name, and you'll just get the 2 draw. You just won't get the 5k, but that's honestly fair enough. So 4 copies of Yugmashad get you hand cards for literally a free cost, and you always have 3 energy, and you'll most likely have an arms in hand, and it's a restand for only 1 CB, so 4 of. That takes us to our last grade 2 in the deck. 1 of in the right deck, none in the main deck, of Sealed Blaze, Dragon, and Halibadra, Balat, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 10k base, auto and Rotapon by Sealed Blaze of Arbitration, Bavsargra Aksayya. Counterblast 1 to search the deck for up to 2 arms cards with different names from each other and ditch them, and then shuffle the deck. Then you choose up to 1 arms from your drop zone and armor to your Vanguard. So let me get this straight. You, most likely, you always search the shield because you only need 1 copy of it, but you will get 1 of the orders or both of the orders off of Anui over here, and then regardless if you have the arms you want in hand or not, this card will just straight up search the deck for whatever 2 arms you want, regardless if they're the old ones or the new ones, yeet them into drop zone, and then just give you a free arm of 1. Cool. Busted. Why not? And again, because that's just for a simple CB, you can then just call Trickmoon and then countercharge, and you got an arms essentially for free, while also deck thinning out a total of 4 cards from your deck if you went second because of the grade 2 and the grade 1. And then the other skill, which you would never be able to pull off because this deck can't superior call from drop since it's not a grade 1, but if you found a way to call it, auto rearguard when attacked at your Vanguard's arm gets 5,000 power for the battle. So literally the exact same thing as the OG Halibadra, so that part didn't change, but cool. It gets you 2 arms into drop zone for 1 CB, which technically could be 0 CB since Trickmoon exists, and it gets you a free arm. So easy 1 of in the right deck. You could choose to run OG Halibadra because the new Namorkahr doesn't require it, but I just would recommend run this Halibadra instead because the old Halibadra doesn't get you an arm, which means this card now allows you just to arm twice in the same turn without needing other support cards because you can just use 1 in your hand that you search via the grade 1, and then this one can just arm the one that is sent to drop zone. On to our grade 3s. This is our only unit card grade 3, but we still have obviously our arms to go over. So 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the right deck, of Sealed Blaze of Arbitration, Bavsargra Aksayya. Grade 3 Trinidad persona, 13k base. This lovely queen continues Vanguard Circle. This unit is also regarded as Sealed Blaze Maiden Bavsarga. So you can use all the OG name specific support cards. Trickmoon. But it's mainly here specifically so that the other armed cards work with it, because otherwise only the new ones would work with it. So then 3 other skills, all of them being once per turn abilities. Act Vanguard once per turn. Put a hand card to soul. Choose an arm from your drop zone, arm it. So I love how she's now taking an active role in arming herself and not needing other cards to do it for her, because that is just take the card you draw for turn, even if you have nothing else in your hand, yeet it to soul, grab an arms from your drop zone that you probably yeeted off of the grade 2, and then put it on Vanguard Circle for free. Meaning you can then just, if you have a second arms in hand, play that. Okay. Busted, but sure. Then act Vanguard once per turn. If this unit is armed with 2 or more cards, exact same skills last time. Soul Boss 2, retire your opponent's front row, and it gets a crit for the turn. But if you do not retire any cards, you draw a card. The best part is that it doesn't say you draw a card instead, meaning you will still get the critical even if nothing dies, but you'll get a draw if nothing gets retired. So now there's benefit to Soul Bossing 2 whenever. I mean, yeah, you would still Soul Boss 2 every time when your opponent had no rear guard just to get the critical, but now you also get a draw out of it too. And then finally, auto Vanguard once per turn. When this unit is armed, energy charge 1, choose a grade 1 or less card from your drop zone, call to the rearguard circle. Then if you chose a card with Vairlord in its card name, you may overdress it on top of a Trickmoon instead of calling it to rearguard circle. So cool. The downside to bad before is that if you only had Vairlord in the drop zone, or even if you did have like a Trickmoon on board, you wouldn't be able to overdress it because that's not how it worked. But now you can just straight up superior overdress it, get more arms, and Bav still pretty much does the exact same thing she does before, but better, because now she can arm herself. She still gets you 1 soul every turn via her own skill, setting stuff to soul. She still retires units, but now she gets you an extra draw if nothing was retired, and now she gets you free energy as well, while also being able to get you an overdress at the same time. This is how you upgrade a card. She still works so well with the rest of her support cards, and she does the same thing she did before, but genuinely better. This card is an upgrade. Like, it doesn't change how the deck plays. It's just a straight up upgrade of what the OG Bav does. This is how you do it. Do you have in the main deck? What have in the red deck? I have nothing to say about this. This card is just perfect. It literally does what it needs to do. It's just good. On to our last 3 cards of the deck. We have obviously our arms. So we have Sealed Blaze Shield Bowdhanath, grade 3, left DD arm, Sealed Blaze of Arbitration, Bavsargra Aksayya. So after being played, it is a good specified arms to it. If there's already a left DD arms armed to that unit, you put that card into the drop zone, or if a new arms would be placed on top of this while it's armed, then this card goes to the drop zone. You play it by counterblasting 1, or you just equip it with the freaking grade 2 over here. Auto Vanguard, when it's armed, draw a card. When I first played this deck, I did not realize that has a draw ability. So that is a free draw, which means you can constantly just send it to drop zone every turn for a new arms, and then you can constantly rearm it and then get a free draw. How you be able to do that? A very specific order we'll go over in a minute. And then the other skill is Auto Vanguard once per turn. When the unit armed with this card is attacked, the armed unit gets 10,000 power for the battle. And then by Soul Blasting 1, it gets 20,000 instead of 10. It does the exact same thing as before with the old shield where it gives 10k. But now if you have an extra soul laying around, Soul Blast 1, give it 20k instead. Cool. Make it a little bit harder for your opponent to break through and get you hand cards, again for free. And because you can keep looping this every single time you arm it, if you find a way to superior arm them via, I don't know, Kankshati, or not Kankshati, but like, you know, search extra copies like Kankshati, and then use other skills like the many grade 1s and grade 2s that are there that can superior arm, yeah, suddenly Bowdhanath looks really good. I like how it honestly steals the effect of the spear. You know what? No. Here's the fun thing. Both the shield and the sword stole skills from the second set of Bav arms, because the shield stole the draw skill from the spear from Bav arms, and then the sword stole the drive check skill from the Bav arms, and then they respectively did them better in some way. So one of this, you only need one of this, and if you think that's not enough to loop combos, trust me it is, because you have enough cards to grab stuff from drop zone and keep rearming it, so take that as you will. Moving on to our grade 3, or our other grade 3 order, we have Sealed Blaze Axe Tvashtar at 2 copies. Grade 3 left DD arms as well, so you cannot have both of these armed to the Vanguard at once, unfortunately. It specifically only works for the OG Bavsargra, but because, you know, Astrashka over here can act as the old Bavsargra, you can still arm it to this one. All arms for the old Bavsargra can still be put to this one, but the new arms can only be put to this one. The only downside is that if your opponent is like Black Demire and it nullifies all the Vanguard abilities, well, it sucks for you because these arms will automatically go to drop zone because they can no longer be applied to the new Vanguard because its name is no longer OG Bavsargra. Anyways, continuous Vanguard Circle. During the battle, your Vanguard is attacked. When your opponent will call cards from a guard circle, call 2 more at the same time. Really great to use for your first grade 3 turn, or just all your grade 3 turns in general, because now your opponent will always have to block your double crit Vanguard or triple drive with 2 cards every single turn. And of course, this card can be played for free because it has no equip cost. And then Auto Vanguard at the end of your turn, by counterblasting 1 and putting it to drop zone, choose a left DD arms from your drop zone with a different card, and from this card and armor to your Vanguard. Cool. Get your shield back, get you a draw, be ready for the defensive, and on your next turn, get the axe back, pressure down your opponent with 2 or more cards, and then keep swapping it by paying CB. Does it cost you a CB to do this? Yes, but hey, on the bright side, this card's free, and it again allows you to constantly drop out more cards from your opponent's hand while still being able to play defensively. So 2 copies of Tvashtar. Good for pressure, and you don't really need more than 2 of it. And again, if you're worried about not being able to get this card out of deck, literally this grade 2 grabs it for you. Like, you tend to search the grade 1 off the shield regardless if you want first or second, but then when you get to grade 2, you automatically send Tvashtar and the sword to drop zone. Speaking of the sword, it's our last card in the deck, and we have 4 copies of it in Sealed Blaze Sword Dyaava. I really like how this sword looks. It's kind of like a spear, but it's like more sword-like. Anyways, right DD arms, so it's the only right DD arms in this deck, so it'll always be on the Vanguard circle. Play it by counterblasting 1, or just play it for free by using Bav's skill to eat a card to soul and equip it. And then Auto Vanguard, when this card is armed, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets continuous Vanguard. All your front units get 5,000 power until end of turn. So that is a stackable ability, meaning if you do the play I did earlier and equip the sword, and then send it to soul via Kankshati, and then equip a second one, the Vanguard is going to get a second skill of continuous. Your front row gets 5k, meaning in total your front row gets 10k, which is good just for giving overall numbers to the front row. And then Auto Vanguard, when the unit armed with this attacks into a grade 3 or grade unit, whether it's a Vanguard or a rear guard, you may have the armed unit get +1 drive to the end of battle. If you do, at the end of the turn, put this card into drop zone. This card is astronomically busted, because while unlike the other item, mainly the gun, being able to get a drive check against whatever it attacks into, while it has to specifically attack into a grade 3, A, this does it for free, and B, unlike all the other arms that have a detrimental or like have an extra effect to them at the end of the battle, it doesn't go to drop zone after the effect goes off. It goes to drop zone at the end of the turn, meaning all of your cards that do require 2 or more arms, you'll be able to still use them because this card hasn't gone to drop zone yet. More importantly, if your Vanguard restands because of the over trigger, the arm will still be there, and even though the drive was only Unfortunately for the battle, you can attack again, and because that ability isn't once per turn, you now have triple drive times 2. Dyaava is good. Free 5k to front row that is stackable, triple drive that is also stackable, and unlike every other sword or like item that goes to drop zone immediately after its ability goes off, it stays until the end of the turn, meaning you can abuse it with other cards. I don't need to explain why this is a 4-up. It's good and you're running it. And without further ado, that's it for this deck. I hope all of you enjoyed. Honestly, they did really good with upgrading Bav. I love how they brought its shield and sword into new light and they just replaced them with new weapons. I love how they also have remnants of the spear and gun in their respective skills. Not to mention the fact that their upgrades are honestly really solid. Like, this is how you do a Rylon upgrade. Like, everyone got to eat this set. And we also got the 4th attacker for Bav, which you can take or leave as like a good thing or a bad thing if you liked having her like be able to compete with people, but at the same time, now she's not one of the only decks that only has 3 attacks now, so take that as you will. Either way though, that's it for this one. I hope all of you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow Twitch. I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to send up your vanguards.